Okay. So, um, can you give me uh your PB?
It's 4389.
4389.
Um,
And your amount of challenge cards won?
oh, that's private.
No, don't worry about it. Just
5003.
okay. 2003. Uh, and in this lesson, you want to focus on tournament play slash challenge play because they are actually different. Tournament and challenge is different.
Right. No, of course. And I'm more. I mean, I guess I'm more interested in the learning the archetypes for tournament play.
Huh?
Um, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I cool. I
Um. So it's like if I wanted to, I could just tell you like what is being played in challenges right now, but it's not going to help you find out what challenges are going to be later if the meta changes.
right.
So yeah, I'm right now. I'm just going to tell you what like how to find out what the meta is in a tournament, like in challenges, whatever, so you can adapt yourself and kind of figure out how to play against it. Um, so we'll start off with the deck that you've been playing a lot, the 2.6 Hawk Rider deck, and I'll say it right now that the meta inside of challenges does not favor this deck.
Right.
Not really, because there are too many answers to it, and because it's 3 minute overtime, this deck gets kind of wrecked by a lot of decks that are running a lot of defenses. Um, so like right now, the challenge decks that are really good are Golem, Graveyard, and Hog Bait. But you wouldn't know that or anything if you don't play the challenges. You have to one play it to be able to pick out what you're seeing most often and most consistently.
Okay.
What the thing about ladder is that ladder is dictated by card levels. Ladder is dictated by uh, yeah, it's mostly just dictated by card levels. If the person is understanding ladder correctly, which means that you're going to see a mishmash of a bunch of cards. Cards are not like optimal. For instance, like right now, the the Electro Wizard is a better replacement for the Musketeer, but most likely you don't see Electro Wizard in top ladder because of its uselessness. Its uselessness at a lower level. Like a level 3, a level 4 Electro Wizard is not equal to a level 11 Musketeer. But at tournament play, you're not going to see very many Musketeers. You're going to see mostly Electro Wizards when in Golem in Graveyard.
Mhm.
Um, but in challenges, you're going to meet up against people who are playing really dumb decks too. So the skill you kind of need to develop is when you look at a person playing a deck, like you have to take into account like how many times are you seeing this deck, um, how well is it working against you, how all around is it, like is it well rounded? Do you take a look at the deck? Does it lose to anything obvious, and how many people are like playing it? I think I might have said that twice, but that's a really big one. I think I was playing a bunch of challenge games earlier, and if we go through my log, it's all ladder. So, all right, I'm gonna share my screen with you, okay?
Okay.
And you're gonna be able to share. You're gonna be able to see my.
Sure.
Um, okay, you see it?
Strangely, no, I don't. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Said my thing pulled up.
So let's go ahead and count how many decks that we see here in like a challenge run. Here's Golem Lightning, right?
Hmm.
Here's a bait poison P.E.K.K.A kind of weird thing. Here's a giant poison graveyard. So Golem, bait kind of thing, graveyard, Giant graveyard, that's twice. Here's another bait. Here's another golem. Here's another golem. Here's this weird ass deck that like makes no sense, and you probably will never see again. So this is already out there. This is like you
Weird.
don't yeah you don't listen to this. This is not like a deck that you want to be playing.
Right.
All right, what about this deck?
Uh,
Again, like you're probably not going to see this.
yeah, I don't get what's going on there.
Here's Lava Loon. Here's Lava Loon. Here's a giant furnace lightning.
Okay.
Here's another bait. Here's another golem. Here's a graveyard. Here's another golem. So what? If we like count it up, what kind of archetypes do you see the most here?
So mostly golem, big, and maybe some giant. It's like
Yeah.
graveyard.
Mm-hmm. A lot of graveyard, giant graveyard, or and we can kind of extrapolate that and just go to like probably cycle graveyard too. But the reason why you're not seeing a lot of cycle graveyard is because of the whole people are kind of nerfing archers, so people haven't been using it or haven't been figuring it out yet. I mean
Okay.
that's whatever. Um, but this is also me going through like a challenge up to like 10 wins. Sometimes you'll only go up to like 5, so you don't get to see what the best players are playing. Uh, but it can still apply. Like you're gonna meet the better players even going through up 1 to 10. You're still gonna see people play shit like this or shit like this.
I'm glad
Um,
you beat He-Man Woman Hater.
yeah.
Sounds like cool.
Another thing that you can do is also just be very up to date with the scene. You can just turn on like a Twitch channel and hopefully they're having like a competition. Just watch them play and take deck ideas from them because most likely, if it's like a band draft tournament kind of format, like you can still like see the identity of a deck and take the identity of the deck. But if it's just a regular like tournament thing where they're just trying to play their best decks, they're most likely going to play their best decks that are in tournament realm. So you just take one of those and try it out.
Hmm.
And I think those are like probably the best ways of figuring out like what is good in a challenge. Like,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Let me write that down. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Uh, so I think that's covered on that. Now I guess we could talk about like improving on challenges or improving at tournament realm.
Yeah.
What that kind of means, how to do it. So, okay, can you remind me what troubles you're having in tournament realm? Do you just feel like you don't really know what you're doing, or?
Well, but I tell you what, the biggest thing that I've noticed, and this is with regrettably not much reflection on losses, but just like because I train with the Clout RPL team,
Uh,
and I'm not a top player, but I sort of help out. I'm a target dummy kind of, and what I've noticed is I think I can defend pushes pretty well. I think I can push pretty well. Like as far as like card placement, I think, and maybe if we play friendly, you can tell me otherwise. But the place where I feel the most loss is when there's nothing on the board. When there's nothing on the board, I don't know whether to prioritize attack or defense. I don't know if that's elixir counting or if that's card counting or what. But I feel like I'll be looking at an empty board and then get to where I'm going to start bleeding elixir and say, crap, I guess I'll just drop an ice golem to bank some elixir, and
mhm.
in 30 seconds I'm folded over. So I think that's where I'm the weakest. But maybe you can tell me otherwise.
uh, that's actually a really interesting point. Okay, so you're lost when the board clears. It's called like the board clears. Like everything kind of like the dust settles. People are waiting for the elixir to recharging back again,
Right.
and Yes, that actually does have to do with tracking card cycle and counting elixir. But like a lot of this game, if you want to be uh, all right at it, you probably need to have this. What card counting and what counting elixir slash tracking cycle does for you, it opens like your eyes. That's the only way I can say it.
Hmm.
When you don't have this, you're basically playing blind because you don't know what they can do. If you don't know what they can do, then you don't know what you do.
Hmm.
So when you, I think that's a like feeling of kind of grasping that you have when the board clears. So you're like, am I ahead? Am I behind? Like, do I put this down here? Am I gonna get punished? Do I need to hold this card? Like a lot of problems come up because you're essentially saying like, crap, I don't know. Um, I I would say so. The first one is definitely if this is like an astute problem for you, like I'm probably gonna try and teach you how to elixir count first. Um, you like tracking card cycle will come later and something that you can work on later. But right now, I would say that you definitely need this just as a way of kind of understanding where you are at a certain point in the game, and it'll help you. So, do you know how to count elixir, or have you seen the basics of it?
Let me just say no. I mean, I've seen some things, I've tried some things, but for example, I guess I should say like I have a sense for like okay, if I just stop a huge royal giant push, then I know that they're probably down. Or if they just stopped my big 12 elixir push, I know I'm probably down. But I do not have a sense for beyond high and low.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and actually the same for cards. Like I know like okay, it's been fewer than four cards since they played their counter to my hog, so I can if I can cycle it quickly, I can get it through. But I don't have any sort of refined sense like, oh, they're at three versus five.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's we'll just focus on this right now. I think that's super important. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that what I've told other people about elixir counting, it is I actually do think simple. It is pretty simple. The only thing is that you need to work at it, and it requires dedication to get better at. It's like with everything.
Sure.
You need to put time into it. The fastest way that you're ever gonna figure out how to do this is to do it in game and do it live. Uh, I would probably recommend to just go into a classic challenge and do this. Like what I'm gonna show you how to do it first, and then I'll probably just watch you and kind of hear out loud. Uh, Whenever I do this, I like to talk out loud. Just kind of see what cards he played. Think about the elixir. Like, all right, we started at 10. He played princess. Now he's at 7. So something easy like that. And then you kind of take that. You take that branch of logic and you kind of run with it. Um, Up until you can't anymore.
Hmm.
So their elixir counting is split into two phases. You have the first phase, which is not times two elixir. This is a regular part of the game. This is the point. This is the point where it's easiest to count elixir because uh the elixir is so like the elixir recharge is so slow,
Hmm.
and you can use your elixir to like kind of bounce off what theirs is. And then the second part of the game is tracking card cycle because at this point, in two times elixir, it becomes too hard to really track the opponent's elixir anymore. Now the second part of the game is when the game speeds up and it's more about the cards that they have or what they can play.
Hmm.
So what I want you to focus on is this first half of the game.
Okay.
When it starts to hit two times elixir, I don't care about you elixir counting anymore. But in the beginning, I need you to.
Okay.
Uh, Also, like if when you get this down, what this will teach you is if it looks right, you'll know where you are at the game. next time when the dust settles, you'll know whether or not you're ahead or behind. That's the only simple question I want you to know by like applying this, and you'll be surprised at how much you'll know what to do when you're at that point.
Okay.
When the dust settles and you can answer yourself like, am I ahead or behind? It's gonna open doors. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, I am behind, so let me not play anything until he hits 10. I am ahead, so I need to make sure I don't leak. And now you have a way to go.
Hmm.
All right. So elixir counting is, like I said, it's hard work. Like you want to just sort of. I think people who play this game a lot or play this game intimately have an advantage in this part because when you see a unit, you'll be able to know how much it costs right away. Like no matter what the unit is, like you're intimately aware. Like if I ask you right now, how much does a bowler cost?
Oh shoot. I would say 5.
Yeah. How much does an ice wizard cost?
I would say 3,
How much does fireball cost?
4,
Lightning,
6,
ice spirit,
1,
spirit goblin.
2.
Okay, so you have no problem when they play their card, right? So you should know how much it costs. When both of your bars are at 10 at the beginning of the game, that's when it starts. If they play anything before that, you just look at your own bar and subtract it. Like, let's say they played something at 7 while the elixir bar is moving up. If they played a prince back here at 7 elixir, how much elixir is he at?
He's at 2. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So that clears that. If you're both sitting at 10
Mhm.
and you play a hog rider over here, he counters with a cannon. How much do you have?
Well, I have 6 and he has 7.
Exactly. Now the game will move a little bit faster because you guys will keep playing, but that's essentially what you do. You just keep thinking. You use your elixir bar as a way to. I think it's a good way to help you in the beginning. It's a good way to kind of see where he's at. You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what we just did there. Like I play hog, he plays cannon. We know that cannon is one less. I'm at 6, so he must be at 7.
Right.
Alright, I'm gonna put a scenario here, and I want you to tell me where I'm at also.
Okay.
Alright, so I play Princess back here. He plays Elixir Collector. I rocket. And then he plays okay, yeah, that's it. So where are you at and where is he at?
He's at 4. You're at 1.
Alright, so where's the 3 elixir at that we don't have?
The 3 elixir that we don't have is in the princess who's on the board.
Exactly. So elixir isn't always about what is in your hand. Like the elixir bar you could think of like in your hand like a poker game, whatever. I don't know. When the card is on the board, that card is elixir that you have that your opponent doesn't have. If the board is like he has nothing on the board and you have something on the board,
Mhm.
you can kind of take that into account of what your elixir really is at also.
Okay.
Because like all right, let's say this princess, so you're at 1 and he's at 4. He has to deal with the princess though, right? Let's say he arrows the princess. That's 3. So then he's at what elixir?
Hmm.
He's at 1, right?
Right.
So you and him are even.
Right.
So if you guys are even and he doesn't play anything and you don't play anything and you both hit 10, then you know that you're both at 10. But if he plays something and you already extrapolate that you guys are even,
Uh-huh.
then
Keep
you
count.
know, yeah, you know where he's at, you know where you're at.
Ah.
That's what elixir counting is.
So you really do count it that granularly.
Well, I'm showing you like very specifically because I want to show you that the math always works out, especially
Sure.
in the beginning of the game. I do this also like when I'm playing, but because I know it so well, I don't expect you to know like all of it really fast. That's not the point. The point is to get you close enough to know to be able to answer the question, am I ahead or am I behind at any point in the game?
Okay.
When you are in game, this will probably be like your homework. Just uh, sorry, go into whatever mode you want, like classic, ladder, grand challenge, and this is called deliberate practice. Practice. You just focus on one thing to the detriment of everything else. Like, don't worry about losing. Just make sure that when you play, you're talking out loud. You're figuring out where your elixir is at, and if you do it wrong, then go back into your replay and like figure out what went wrong there. Like, where did you mess up in your analysis of the game? All right. So that will help you when you're playing to know what happens. Like uh, when the dust settles, to know what to do.
Cool. Now with that, so I mean, where you are right now, like personally, when you're at a minute 30, do you know exactly how much elixir both your opponent has, do you think?
I probably do. Yeah.
Wow, that's extremely impressive. Okay.
I mean, uh, we can do a live battle, and I can do it for you if you want. Kind of see what it looks like.
Okay.
Uh, I guess I'll just play 2.6 Hog then, because it's very familiar to you.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back into the replay and watch it. Okay. We're at 10. I don't really want to leak. Let's go ahead and drop an ice golem. He has a damn. It's a lava hound. That's 7. He hasn't played anything else. I put 6 on the board. He's up 1. Now he's down 2. I need a cannon here. He's still sitting. He's sitting at 10 right now. Now he's at 5. He can lightning if it comes to it. That's going to pop. Going to get hurt. He hasn't played anything, so right now he's up on elixir on me. He's probably at like around 8, 9 right now. Alright, now he's at 6. I'm ahead. Still ahead. I think he has a tombstone. No, he's not going to play tombstone. There's a tombstone, but it's kind of late. How much is that? 3, 4, 7, 10. I think we're about even. After this musketeer that I have to kind of play, I'm going to be a little bit behind. I'm waiting for him to do something. Now, I know he can play Lava Hound. He can play Lava Hound right now. There it is. I need a Ice Golem. I believe that I actually can win this. He's kind of giving me lead here. I have to be super careful. It's about to hit a point. He has Lava Hound. I mean, he has a balloon in his hand, and I'm waiting for his like spell. I don't know where his spell is at. Okay. I think I just now like at this point it doesn't really matter about the elixir, like where I'm at, because like the game is at a point where it's ×2 elixir, and now it's about like what can he play and what can't he play. Like, he hasn't once used his like spell yet. I'm not sure what.
Maybe it's freeze.
Maybe. Maybe he doesn't have a spell.
It'd be weird.
Maybe he doesn't actually. He has arrows. Okay. Wow.
Wow. That was sick to watch.
Alright, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and go back into replay and we'll like count elixir.
Okay.
Yeah, he had arrows. Like I was waiting on fireball, lightning, or anything along those lines.
Sure.
Go ahead, count. Sitting at 10. This is unfortunate. He plays Lava Hound while I play Ice Golem. Like, preferably you'd want to just drop this here and go all in on him. I couldn't. So, Lava Hound 7, he's at 3. I play 2 over here. I'm forced to drop this Hog Rider without the Ice Golem. That's 6. That's 2, 4, 6.
Uh-huh.
I should be at 4, but I waited a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to play this Hog Rider. Because I didn't really want to play this Hog Rider. I played this Hog Rider at 10. So I'm at 6. He's still waiting because all I see of this is his Lava Hound right now.
Right.
Plays Tombstone. Adds up to 10. What's that? 7, 3, 6. I know that we're ahead. I don't think we act on this Hog Rider at all. Do I log here? Yeah, I don't. I don't log here now. Because I know I have to defend this. I know at the very least, this guy, if he's playing like Lava Loon, he can play Loon or he can play minions plus maybe like a small spell. But I know he can't. I know he can't like lightning with like this lone. He can lightning with a lone Lava Hound, but he can't do anything else.
Right. Okay. So that's why you didn't log.
Yeah. Like because if I log there, I don't think I defend well.
You don't have enough to defend. Okay. That's the kind of mistake that I would make.
There's the Loon, Lava Hound Loon, and it's only like what 2 minute 30 in. I know he can't lightning this, so
Right.
I play Muskie over here.
Right. To
Yeah.
hopefully hit the Loon. Yeah.
If this is lightning, then you can't really do it. This deck, especially, like I think I just went up against a super hard matchup, like this Lava Loon against 2.6. Very
Yeah.
good.
I'm proud when I don't get 3 crowned against Lava Loon.
All right. So essentially, the board kind of clears here, right?
Right.
And I remember being at this point telling myself that I'm behind.
Yeah, you did because of your fireball. I remember you saying that too.
Yeah. So I think that's a lot. That's pretty easy too. Like if like they don't play anything and you're forced to play something, you can kind of know that you're also behind that spell, like or that unit. If you have to over defend and you have to drop things like a knight,
Uh-huh.
then you're probably down 3 elixir at the very least. Maybe a little bit more even. If he really didn't play anything or his cards got like a lot of value.
Mhm.
So now I know, like, if he defends this, I know that I'm sort of even.
Sure.
He does defend it, and I defend cheaply with skeletons.
Right.
And now this is the point where I know that like I'm either even or a little bit ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm still counting. I'm still seeing like, all right. So he's playing minions. I know he has Tombstone in his hand, so I believe I pre-log here. No, I don't log because he drops Inferno Dragon, and it looks really odd to me. Most people would just drop Tombstone in that scenario, and then
Yeah.
like Inferno. But
I think Tombstone was his next card, right? So he probably should have shuffled Skellies.
he had Tombstone. I was seeing he had Tombstone.
Oh, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, he just made an odd decision.
Ah, and he says, "Oops, maybe it was a mistap."
Hmm.
No, but he played it back, so it couldn't have been a mistap. Okay.
So what kind of elixir here will do for you too? Just like in general, like I'm just kind of keeping track of what it is in general. What can he do right now? Well, I saw him play minions. I saw him cycle Tombstone. Saw him play like this Inferno Drag and like nothing else. I played like a hog. All this crap. I'm pretty sure he can play like Lava Hound right now.
Right.
Like I remember at this point too in the game, just saying like, all right, he's gonna drop Lava Hound back here.
Yeah, you pointed up there and you said he dropped Lava Hound, and he did like a second later.
Yeah, because I know that he's going to be at 10 elixir. I know that he has Lava Hound in his hand. I know every Lava Hound player would just drop it. And I played Muskie, so I'm like vulnerable right now too. Kind of forcing me to go in. So if you take a look at this point in the game, Would you say I'm ahead or behind?
I would say you're ahead, like a ways ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
now I know that you're like so, and here's a delicate part of that is there's a lava hound coming down your throat, but you have cannon in hand and you have your musk up next, and you'll be able to afford them by the time the lava hound gets to your side.
Uh huh. Yeah. So I mean, I have all the answers. Well,
Hmm.
I wish I had more answers, but there's
You have
enough answers here that won't just automatically like make me lose the game. Again, like this should help you try to figure out like where you're at all points in the game. If I took a look at this, I'd say I'm ahead too. This is kind of where you want to be if you're in like a terrible matchup like this. If his tower was like 2,000 health and this scenario happened again, like it's actually really bad. Like you probably just lose
uh-huh.
off of the difficulty of the matchup. But all right, go ahead and leave this on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it looks like in real time.
Yeah, that was impressive, man. That's cool. So you practice just talking out loud?
Well, I mean, I learned how to do it because I'm a streamer, and then I kind of figured out that oh, okay, I can probably teach people this too.
Yeah.
It. I mean, it's not like I distinctly remember that no one gave it a name,
Hmm.
right? No one gave it a name. No one like ever taught it, and then like I taught it, and then I'm not sure if it was me, but I know other people were doing it. But at the very least, it got a name and it got known and people know it now. Like people know
Yeah.
what tracking card cycles mean, people know what counting elixir mean, and then they're like more advanced tactics.
Hmm.
Um and like I kind of figured it out just accidentally because I'm a streamer.
Hmm.
So I figured out how to do it and then how to teach it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if you want to go ahead and move on to the next part, do you want to try doing elixir counting, or do you want to just like play a game and have me watch to see what you could kind of work on in that aspect?
Yeah, I think actually, if you just watch me play, like just sort of a diagnosis, that and then you can say like, "Oh, dude, you can't even start counting elixir yet. You need to do this first, or whatever, you know."
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Whenever you're ready, you want to go.
okay, so I'll do. Should I do well? Should I do my zap bait deck in a challenge, or do you want me to do a hog deck on ladder?
Whichever one. Whichever one.
I'm I'm probably more comfortable playing hog on ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just you can.
Yep. I'll just be watching. So
Cool.
got it.
Oops, not where I wanted my ice golem. Crap.
The situation happens very easily. This matchup requires like insane delicacy to kind of make work.
Dang it! I lost a battle earlier today with that same missed ice spirit,
Mm-hmm.
like exact same ice spirit miss. So frustrating. Yeah, and right now I've completely lost count of elixir.
Mm-hmm. Fine. Just like make a mental note of it.
Hmm.
That's the best thing you can do.
Eh.
This is a tough matchup, but it is doable. It is
Yeah.
doable.
Yeah, no, I'm just going for
Let me get that crown.
yeah. Even though I'm like not on crown chest, it just woo. Okay, wow, that was rough, man. Hmm.
That's fair. All right, so all right, yeah. Let's talk about that. Uh,
Okay.
the 2.6 against Graveyard. Do you want to know it personally, or do you want to figure out like what you could have worked on in terms of 2.6 in general,
So I
or
guess
you know, I mean, there's a lot of resources because I know how much time do you have. So you have about like 25 minutes left, and I have a ton of resources. There's a lot of resources out on 2.6 right now.
right.
I'm personally doing a hog guide already. There's already a
Yeah,
part one.
yeah. I've watched part one of that. I'm psyched.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out part two and part three like very soon.
Mhm.
So I don't really want to touch on those because I want to use your time more efficiently if it's only an hour. Uh,
Yeah, I would prefer that actually. Yeah.
uh, I'll address the graveyard right now because like the graveyard will be in part three on specific matchups. But when it comes to giant graveyard, like when it comes to graveyard, there are two types of graveyard. There's tank graveyard, giant graveyard slash cycle graveyard, and the formation for this defense
Mhm.
depends on which one it is. If it's giant graveyard, it's a lot harder for this deck. But you played cycle graveyard, which is a lot easier. The way you kind of want to set up with this deck against cycle graveyard, and the issue that I saw you doing is I think the first part is that you over just commit in the beginning with ice golem and hog rider because you don't know what he has. But aside from that, um, the four, yeah, uh huh.
You know, open with that, like just in general. You think that's too big of a push to start with?
Yeah, you don't really want to. I mean, sometimes it can pay off, but other times, but most times, people always have counters to Hog Rider. That's what I assume. Everybody always does. I play Hog Rider in a way where I know their counters, and then I just counter their counter. Or I just outcycle whatever the hell stops my Hog Rider. In his deck, he had Bowler and he had Ely Barbs. Preferably, I would want to play one Hog, get out his Bowler, defend the Bowler, and then or defend the graveyard, and then probably play another Hog and Fireball, like pre-Fireball the Ely
Yeah.
Barbarians, because I know he doesn't have like a building. Um,
So I was okay, cool. Because frequently I'll start out with either the Ice Golem Hog or I'll do a pig to start. So you think I
yeah,
should just naked hog or is pig okay?
um, yeah. I mean, it's fine. You can also just start off with Ice Spirit, Skeletons. Just play very slowly, play very safely.
Okay.
And try to poke and see what they have. So the formation to go against Graveyard is like, let's say that the bowler is walking down here.
Mhm.
You actually need to use Cannon. Well, like, where do you set up Cannon? Cannon is really big in this deck.
Mhm.
You need Cannon like around here.
Oh,
Yes.
like adjacent to my tower.
Yeah, like very close to your tower.
Okay, cool.
And you
That's
can play Muskie around here and
right.
distract the bowler with things like Skeletons, Ice Spirit, or Hog Rider.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you most likely log the graveyard at the same time.
So my okay. So my go-to graveyard defense has always been Ice Golem right behind the tower. Is that inefficient here? You think?
You can use Ice Golem, but you use the Ice Golem not as on its own anymore because it doesn't defend. You need like trust me. You can actually afford all of this because the deck is so cheap. If you're not overcommitting very hard in the beginning or anything like that. If you just play one hog, he plays a bowler. The bowler walks up. He drops like a mega minion or whatever. No, he can't drop mega minion. He drops graveyard.
Mhm.
You play cannon. You distract the bowler with skeletons. Like you surround it. The cannon kills out the bowler. The musketeer kills out the graveyard. And then when the cannon is done, because it's placed so close to the tower, will help you with the grave or help you with the graveyard. At the same time, if you want, you can either play Ice Golem or Log in order to take out the rest of the graveyard. Then the game keeps going on. But
Mhm.
if well, I see what you were doing was you were dropping skeletons on top of the bowler, but the bowler would just kill it, and you didn't have anything killing off the bowler. So when you drop, you're not supposed to also be dropping musketeers into the graveyard, because the musketeer will die. You want her over here, something along those lines, but probably not next to the cannon.
Yeah.
Alternatively, like if you can't play cannon like right here, you can also play cannon down here.
Hmm.
But
Okay, that's
yeah,
good to know.
so something like this. This will target the bowler. You distract it with Hog Skellies, even Ice Spirit. You can play like Muskie here, and you want to log it and all that. And you kind of get rid of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I'm used to playing giant graveyard or tank graveyard. I'm not the cycle graveyard. I still don't know how to. So
Yeah.
that's pretty helpful.
Tank Graveyard is a lot harder because you need to play your cannon far away. When your cannon is far away, it doesn't help you against Graveyard.
Right.
You have
That's
to have even more finesse with defending.
cool.
All right. I wrote here assigning card roles. What I mean by assigning card roles, and what I saw that you weren't doing was, well, I mean, like the cannon. Like you should be using cannon next to the tower. Like think about what your cards should be doing in a specific game.
Hmm.
Uh, in the game with Lava Hound that I played, like where do I assign my cards? Well, I need my Hog Rider and my Ice Golem, preferably on offense. I need my Musketeer on defense. I need my Cannon on defense. I probably also need my Fireball on defense. In your game against the Graveyard, you need your Cannon next to your tower. You need your Muskie either killing whatever the cannon's killing or killing Graveyard. You have to make that decision. Where does my Ice Golem go? Well, my Ice Golem, if I feel confident that my Ice Golem is not needed for Graveyard, then I use it for distracting the push.
Hmm.
See, like, you assign roles to it. What does my Hog do in this game? Well, it'll probably distract or it'll attack. Like, those are probably the two things, or poke. Like, and then, like, what do you do with these two cards? Well, I probably need it to um, drag like Ely Barbs or drag Mega Minion.
Yeah, and I do tend to keep that stuff in mind. Like when I see they have e-barbs, I want to make sure that I always have an answer, even if it's just to slow them down.
Mm-hmm.
Or when but I think maybe I'm still pretty primitive with it then.
Just take time to just think about it, and it'll help too. Uh, yeah. So do you want to like? I know there are more things we could go into Hawk, but
Mhm.
again, I would prefer going into another thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You want to
Hawk.
see me do a challenge with my that bait deck?
Yes, yes.
That would be great. Yeah, because I really like 2/6 hogs, but I I play it a lot and I need to learn other decks. I think that's one of the things that I tend to do is learn one deck and stick to it rather
Mm-hmm.
than okay, make sure okay, I got this dialed up.
game. Okay, so I love me my bait. I can start off with that. I love teaching bait, and
Okay, cool. Because I have no clue. I've played probably 2 dozen games with it. I'm
yeah,
still learning.
go ahead and build your deck, the one that you're playing, and I'll talk through about the deck. One, two, three. God. Okay, let's talk about this deck. What I kind of saw. You're one, too aggressive, uh, two priority, and again, you need to assign card roles. See, um, elixir management. I know that you probably also forgot to count elixir a little bit.
I had it at the start, and then I would say by 20 seconds in, I was lost.
Hmm.
After 4 or 5 cards had come down, I realized that I'd forgotten to count. So
Yeah, don't worry. But this is just like this. This really is just like your homework. When after this coaching session,
Mhm.
just really focus on this.
Okay.
So, like I said before, like the detriment or anything else. Don't care about losses. Don't care about any of that. Just focus on it and try to extend the time as much as possible,
Okay.
slowly over time. Now you probably say like 20 seconds. Try to get to 30. Try to get it to a minute. Try to get it to a minute 20. Try to get it like a little bit more and more.
Hmm.
All right. So what I've noticed across both games, what I've noticed in general is that we already talked about signing card roles. You are too aggressive with your cards. I think that the concept of priority of cards is also something that is kind of off because you've been playing a lot of Psycho Hog, and Psycho Hog has less priority than other decks. When I mean by priority, I mean what card should be played first, in what order, and why.
Okay.
Because Hog cycles so fast, a lot of people will just not care. They think it's so cheap that you can get to anywhere you want. So they fuck up their card cycle. They fuck up like a lot of stuff. And you kind of had this here. You can't play this deck the same way. And then there's like elixir management where I think kind of off because you don't know where you're at in the game. You're kind of throwing a lot of elixir at your opponent, which is being countered or kind of going off. There's also a little bit of um, placement in general, but this is less so of a problem because this is more. What I'm trying to teach you right now is the macro of the game. This is considered macro. This is very micro,
Hmm.
and I don't think you need to worry yourself about this quite yet. But I'm just putting it here as a thought to remember to keep in mind. All right, so I want to start off with too aggressive. If we watched your replay again,
Hmm.
uh, you were dropping cards when you probably shouldn't. I was. He didn't even have a log. He had a zap, and your bait deck wasn't that. Uh, wasn't that successful because he had because your push no your pushes were mistimed. They weren't precise. They were just kind of I have the card in my hand, like let me throw it. I have the card in my hand, like I have a princess in my hand, let me play it. I want this damage like now. With this deck, it's not about that. It's about patience. It's about chip damage slowly over time, and then winning the game with Rocket.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what this deck is. You take away the opponent's answers over like systematically, and each time they mess up, you get damage. This deck's identity is a deck built on mistakes. That's what this deck is. When you understand what the deck's identity is, then you start to understand like what does it want to do. Well, what this deck wants to do is it wants to punish you for making a mistake. How do you make a mistake? Well, this deck kind of forces it. You have priority cards in Goblin Gang, in Princess, in Goblin Barrel. These are your proactive cards where you can play and force someone to do something. Like if you Goblin Barrel and no one responds to it, Barrel gets damaged, right? Most times people always respond to it. That's a proactive card. That's a card which makes the opponent react to you. What's a not proactive card? Well, probably skeletons at the back of the tower. No one acts to that. No one's like, wow, I'm gonna get damaged. And I guess I'll combine this with priority. So the priority in this deck, and I did a lesson with another person that didn't go on YouTube, which probably would have helped you in this case, but the priority in this deck that I've learned for Spellbait goes something like this. Princess, Goblin Barrel, Goblin Gang, then probably Fire Spirits, then Knight as needed. Why? And what does this mean? What does this priority list mean? Well, in bait decks, your goal is to keep as many things alive as possible for as long as possible. Especially your princess. Especially your princess. If you can build like what do princesses do on a map? Like if you see a princess on a map, what does it do?
Yeah, I mean, it's just constantly destroying everything, or it's chipping away at everything.
Yeah. So what does it force the opponent to do?
You have to respond because it doesn't because nothing hits it naturally. The towers don't just naturally hit princess like they do everything else.
That's called pressure.
Yeah.
If a princess is on the board, that's pressure. The longer the princess is on the board, the more pressure you have. The more pressure you build up in this deck, the more people make mistakes. You play to mistakes, you play to the deck. So when I see you drop princess at the bridge as the very first opening hand, you tell me that you don't know the deck. You tell me that you don't understand priority.
Okay.
So what you want to be doing with this deck, like if you have a princess in your hand, you play her at the back of the tower. You try to keep her as long as possible. You try to make her survive. You try to get something out of your princess. What cards do you want to get out of your princess? Well, you want units or you want log, right? This is a loggable deck. This is log bait. If they log your princess, then you punish them with Goblin Gang, you punish them with Goblin Barrel, you punish them with Knight Goblin Barrel, something along those lines. And then like you go down the line, like Goblin Barrel, you throw a Goblin into a tower, you use Goblin Gang, like all of these three are your practice cards for a reason because they force mistakes.
Okay.
Or they force bad traits for you. Another thing is assigning priority to cards. The same thing, but when I saw you playing Inferno Tower for like Elite Barbarians for Hog Rider, like again, like you should be thinking about what cards go where. Rocket can go to Elite Barbs, if you didn't know. Like you just have to time it. Or Rocket goes to like him playing a wizard at the back, or Rocket goes to ending the game. Alright, now we know priority for Rocket. What is Inferno Tower? What should we be using Inferno Tower for? We should be using Inferno Tower for Hog Rider. And in general, you don't want to be playing Inferno Tower like beforehand. You want to be playing Inferno Tower as a response. I saw you pre-placing Inferno Tower for really no reason.
And that's an extremely rare move. I normally don't do that. That's an example of me being just, empty board, lost.
Because you don't know like where he's at, where you're at.
Right.
When you played the Inferno, yes, he did have Hog Rider, but most likely he doesn't even play Hog Rider at that point. And he just kind of called you out on it, played a wizard at the back, and then walked up and pushed on you. And you didn't have anything in your hand because the Inferno is no longer in your hand, it's about to die.
Right. Well, and I think I even said out loud, oops.
Yeah.
Inferno Tower. It's like that was not a good play.
So if we remember, assign cards, like use Knight on Wizard, use Knight to pull Elite Barbs, use Goblin Gang, use Fire Spirits to deal with Elite Barbs, like have answers already like kind of in your head, or at the like if you don't have the answers in game, then like after this lesson, go back and replay, watch where you could have put your cards, and then do it next time.
Okay.
If a situation like it happens again. So The management placement. Yeah. Placement is just in general like what I talked about with the Inferno Tower. With like rocket, like you can rocket Ely barbs and stuff.
Yeah, I need to learn that timing. That's a I don't know the timing. You saw me do a defensive rocket and miss. I don't know somebody.
Yeah. Uh, I mean that like you can ask like a clanmate or someone, and they'll just throw an Ely barb at the bridge, and you could just rocket it and get the timing down.
Hmm.
So I think the last thing I'll do a game and I'll kind of show you what this deck like looks like when it's being played to its like identity
Hmm.
on top of elixir counting.
Okay.
So we can see like the difference when we look at this again.
Cool.
So you have like a what do you call it? A measurement, something to by. Okay, so we listen to priority. Let's play Princess at the back at 10. We have Goblin Barrel. We have all of our proactive cards. This is a good hand, but we don't have Rocket. If he has a pump, then we're gonna have to go aggressive on him. So he drops Knight and Elite Barbs with the Rage. We're assigning our cards. Now I know that he has Zap. So he has Elite Barbs, Rage, Zap. He has to deal with this Princess and overextended. So now once he defends this, I know that I'm ahead. I will probably, let's Goblin Barrel this side. I can't really drop this because he'll blow it up. So I'm going to log this. I take one hit, and now I'm going to play Princess to deal with this Skarmy and put her into the lane where she's stronger. I'm assigning Inferno Tower to Hog Rider now. I'm assigning Knight to either Wizard or Ely Barbs. This is almost the exact same game for some reason.
Yeah, it's nice.
So now we're just waiting. He has to defend this. If he defends it, this will probably take care of it, actually. This will take one hit, so I'm going to use Fire Spirits over here. I know I'm still ahead. It's going to target it for a second. We drop Fire Spirits. Now what's in his hand? He has Ely Barbs. He can drop Ely Barb, Rage, Zap. I know that's in his hand. I know he doesn't have he probably doesn't have Skarmy. Yeah, there it is. So let's drop Knight here. Let's play Princess. And we're waiting. Don't really want... I don't think I can deal with that. Okay. We took a lot of damage there. What can he play? He can play Hog Rider right now. So I have my Inferno Tower ready.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know, like, how does he defend Goblin Barrel? He's gonna play Skarmy, he's gonna play Skarmy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to predict this and send a Goblin Barrel with a pre-log. I already know I'm safe on the right side because of this Inferno. Alright, he zaps it. That's good on us. I will most likely have to rocket this if he plays something. Oops. I don't want to take any more damage.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
there's the Inferno Tower. He still has Skarmy in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna keep doing this until we get the Skarmy. Or he takes the damage. There's a Skarmy. We deal with that. But we don't have to play Princess here. But we kind of do want to get our cycle going. 1388 right now. Get this ready again. Make sure we hit that. Because the Rage is really scary, so I need to make sure. I don't have enough for Inferno, so I have to improvise. How much damage do we need? We need 493. 580. We're pretty close, and we just need to stabilize here and log. Now then. We'll rocket, and we'll log now.
Wow, dude.
Okay, I think it was almost exactly the same.
Wow, man, that was sick.
See the difference between like the princesses?
Yes.
You play a princess, it builds up. You assign roles to cards, like his hog got to my tower maybe one time because I didn't have enough elixir, but not because I didn't have it.
Right.
his Elite bars did get in because of his kind of weird ass deck with rage stuff, but
Yeah.
Knight Goblin Gang assigned roles. What I use Fire Spirit for, I tried to use it as much as possible, but his deck kind of put me in a point where it was hard. And when I,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that makes a lot of sense, man.
you're seeing me make decisions like rocketing, which you normally probably won't do, but in time, if you play the deck enough, you probably will. I'm just, yeah, like what I'm trying to tell you is like try and build the thought of it.
Yeah.
Focus on this stuff. Focus on macro. Focus on elixir counting. You'll know where you're at. This is like kind of the open doorway for you. This opens the doorway for playing the real game. Like right now, you're kind of blind. You're just kind of
Hmm.
touching around, just like where am I at? I need a cane. You don't have a cane. You don't have anyone. You don't even have a service dog. So figure it out yourself. Just learn elixir count. This kind of stuff is things that you can do on your own with every deck that you play. Just ask yourself like, what is the identity of my deck? What does it want to do? How do I play to it? What do my cards do? Where should I be assigning them to? Um, and like you'll be successful with any deck. That's like kind of the secret to it by knowing it. Other than just playing it like a fuck ton. So,
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
um,
and for
mhm.
like deck identity, is that the kind of thing like if when I play against a deck and I see how it beats me, is that a
Mhm.
good indicator of deck identity, or is that the kind of thing you, like you said, just playing it a lot?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Okay.
If you've played against this deck,
Hmm.
and you were playing 2.6 hog, but almost every single time you were getting tripped up with goblin barrels, you were missing goblin gangs, you were like killing princesses with logs. Like, what does that mean? Well, I was making a ton of mistakes. Well, this deck probably forces mistakes. That's what it is. I can do it with this deck too. Like, what is the identity of this deck? The identity of this deck is to defend,
Hmm.
pump up as much as possible, and just build a big ass push. It's
Right.
literally like the golem is the epitome of a beatdown deck in this
Yeah.
game. So all you do is play to what it does
Hmm.
as much as possible with things like baby dragon, with things like lightning, um, elixir collector. It all serves to bolster the strength of golem.
Hmm.
That's the identity of this deck. So it's not it's not forcing mistakes or anything. That it's literally let me take as least damage as possible, get as many pumps up, and then kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the way I got into Royal, like way at the start of the game, was with Golem. It was like I would always run Golem, and yeah, you don't run it really until double elixir time, and then
Mm-hmm.
just rush. But then I ended up switching to trifecta because I was winning half my matches without even playing the golem.
Trifecta. Oh man, the good old days.
Yeah, right.
All right. Are there any last questions? Anything?
Uh, no, I mean this seems pretty clear. I mean it seems like so. If I could read this back to you, maybe just make sure that I'm clear. So it sounds like if I were prioritizing my training sort of regimen, number one is counting elixir and just getting that because it's like I'm not looking at the screen until I get that sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then after that, it seems like you said assigning card roles, which I think. I think normally I have a decent idea for like at least for defense, but yeah, like I was completely off with my use of princess. I was using princess to bait a log so that I could get my barrel in,
Mm-hmm.
and telling me that's not really the it's not really the best way.
They like she'll always get something.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's very rare that you ever want to be playing Princess at the Bridge in this deck. The only time is when you need the tower to go down to rocket log range, and you know that they can't punish you off of it. But most likely they'll probably punish you off of it. So it's a really risky move.
Sure.
The decks that do play Princess at the Bridge are minor control Princess decks because they're
That makes sense.
what they want to do is not bait mistakes. They want to blitz you, do as much damage as possible while defending you with very few elixir.
Yeah, yeah, because that's one of the actually that's probably wise because the one of the decks I was playing right before this was a minor control.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. But it sounds like the big thing I need to do right now is focus on counting elixir. I for challenges you said sort of try to get up to the later wins and watch streamers to see what the big deck archetypes are.
Yeah. Watch
Comfortable.
streamers, watch pro players, like add them to your list and just watch them. Figure
Yeah,
out what they're
yeah.
doing.
I watch you and I watch Tag. Let's see here. Uh, Priority. I think that's a big because a lot of these, I kind of understand some of this, but I hadn't thought about priority the way that you've mentioned it. Like, because I have been playing Hog Cycle, so I sort of spam cards.
It's
Okay.
a hazard of hog cycle, especially 2.6 that I've seen over and over again. But even 2.6 has priority. It has a priority. It's just like when you see, if I showed you the replay of a top 2.6 player, like you'll see it. You'll be like, oh shit, this is beautiful because it looks very clean. If I show you the replay of someone who's at 3K trying to play the deck, you'll see the difference like almost immediately, and then you'll be able to find out what priority is just even on instincts alone.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I feel like I got my work cut out for me with this elixir counting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Take
yeah.
your time. You know, it's like no one is trying to rush you. Just go into a game and work on it. Like really
Yeah.
work on it if you want to improve. Because this is like one of the biggest hurdles for casual players to get into actually playing the game. If you don't have this, people will like players who have both counting elixir or tracking a card cycle will know. Like think about it, they know exactly where you're at all times,
Mhm.
but you don't know theirs. Think about how big of a disadvantage that is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like playing poker with where your opponent can see your cards, right?
Exactly, the opponent can see your freaking cards. Like he'll counter you every step of the way. You'll never win
Right.
unless you're playing some cheese shit. And then even then, like it's up to execution.
And then you don't feel good about winning, really. I mean, like I don't really feel good about crushing someone, even if they're like a full level above me. If they play poorly, then it's kind of like okay, cool.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
awesome, dude. Well, I really appreciate your time, and you know, uh, keep in touch, man. If you ever need anything.
Of course. No problem, man. No problem, and I will.
Yeah, but I really appreciate this because I feel like I'm trying to help out the Clout team, and I'm just really not good training. I mean,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Sometimes if you want to help them, like you don't even need to play with them. Sometimes help can come in many different forms.
right, yeah, and I mean from RPL days, like my main role is I think cat herder more than anything else, but um, yeah, man. Well, thanks. It's good chatting with you, and keep up the good work, man. I love your videos, dude.
Yeah, this one will be up on YouTube also. So
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Well,
it'll
thanks a
always
lot,
be
man.
there. Yeah. All right. Have a good day, man.
Hey, you too. We'll see you.